Have you ever wondered why English is so strange? Why do we have multiple words for the exact same thing? Why can you start a car but also commence a project? Why do we spell night with a K if we don't pronounce the K? Here's the truth. English wasn't created in a neat academic laboratory. English is a survivor that grew by invading other countries, being invaded by others, and absorbing pieces of every culture that it touched. And so, if you've ever felt frustrated trying to master this language, it is not your fault. You're dealing with a beautiful, chaotic mix of history. Today, we're going to break down the 5 major stages of the history and evolution of the English language. When you understand its past, you unlock the ultimate cheat code to mastering its modern rhythm. Welcome to the evolution of your voice. Our story begins around the year 450. Before this time, the people living in Britain spoke Celtic languages. But then, 3 Germanic tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, crossed the North Sea and invaded the island. The language they brought with them is what we called Old English or Anglo-Saxon. If you heard Old English today, you wouldn't recognize it. It sounded harsh, guttural, and Germanic. But this stage is vital because it built the absolute bedrock of our daily speech. Old English gave us raw emotional survival words, words like earth, house, food, water, mother, and friend. And back then, the rules were straightforward. You pronounced every single letter. There was no silent letter. If you wrote K in a word, you say it out loud. It was a simple language for a rugged time. But then came the most explosive turning point in the history of the language, the year 1066. William the Conqueror and his Norman army invaded England from France. And suddenly, the rulers of England spoke French while the common working class people spoke Old English. For nearly 300 years, the two languages lived side by side on the same island, and then they smashed together to create Middle English. This is the exact reason why modern English has a double vocabulary. The commoners on the farm looked after the animals using Old English words, but the French nobles ate the meat at the dinner table using French words. The French invasion added over 10,000 words of English, introducing elegance, legal terms, and sophistication. By the late 1400s, we enter the era of the early modern English. This stage was defined by 2 massive revolutions, the Great Vowel Shift and the invention of the printing press. The Great Vowel Shift caused people to completely change how they pronounced their long vowel sounds, moving the sounds higher up in their mouths. The word bite is to sound like bait, and the word house used to sound like house. But right as the people were changing how they spoke, William Caxton brought the printing press to England in 1476. The printers needed to freeze spellings into books so that they could mass produce them. We can call it some sort of standardization of how words were used and spelt. And so they froze the old medieval spellings while people kept changing their pronunciation, English spellings, and pronunciation became permanently disconnected. This is also the era of William Shakespeare. He single-handedly invented over 1,700 words and phrases that we still use in our business meetings today. Phrases like breaking the ice, in a pickle, and the word manager. By the 1800s, we reach late modern English. 2 things caused the language to explode again: the Industrial Revolution and the expansion of the British Empire. Humanity was inventing steam engines, electricity, and modern medicine. English also had to invent thousands of new technical words to keep up with science. And at the same time, the British Empire expanded across the globe, bringing English to America, India, Australia, and Africa, and taking words from these cultures in return. Today, English doesn't belong to just one country. It belongs to the world. It is the language of the internet, aviation, science, and global commerce. But because it has inherited pieces of German, French, Latin, and dozens of other global dialects, it requires strategy and precision to navigate without stumbling. So, why did I just take you on this journey through time? Because I want you to realize something profound. English is not a test you're failing, it's a puzzle you're trying to solve. When you realize that the spelling is chaotic because of a 500-year-old printing press accident, or that your vocabulary is double layered because of medieval war, the intimidation vanishes. You stop feeling insecure and you start looking at the language like a strategist. Stop hiding behind your silence. Let's get to work, and I will see you in the next class.